Hello everyone. This videos we're going to review for the midterm exam that has been scheduled for next Tuesday. Right, so the midterm exam that you have next Tuesday, that will be lasting for 80 minutes, starting from 10 o'clock in the morning until 11:20. Right, so if you have any questions about the time, please let me know and shoot me an email. Let me know about it. Right, so the meeting exam will be scheduled online, will be protocoled, and so I would strongly recommend you to use Google Chrome to open the link and then complete the text. So if you have any technical issues, also please let me know. Um, for the midterm exam, the total point is 50, counted for 12.5% of the overall grade. In terms of the midterm exam, it's very similar to all other exams that you have taken in other courses, right? So if you look at the format, now we have 20 multiple choice questions, we have 4 true and false questions, and each of those questions worth 1 point. We have 4 short answer questions, 4 points each, and then we have 2 case studies. Right, for 2 case studies, they could include multiple choice questions. It might also include open-end questions. So be prepared for those questions. So let's look at what kind of questions or what kind of contents do you need to prepare for the midterm exam. So the midterm exam will cover everything we talk about in the first 7 weeks, starting from introducing the sports organizations and strategic plannings, leaderships, organizationing functions, and human resource management, risk management, as well as budgetings. Okay, the first week we will spend time talking about the human resource management. So what question do you need to prepare for the midterm exams? So first of all, you have to understand 3 types of the organization we discussed in the class, right? Based on the source of the fundings, we classify all organizations into public organizations, private organizations, and the third sectors organizations. So you do need to understand about the example for each of the category that we discussed in the class, right? And also we talk about based on the profit orientation, all the organization could be classified into 2 types. One is a non-for-profit organization, another one is a for-profit organization, which also has been called commercial organization. So you do need to know about the differences. So one of the question here, I remember in the class we spent time to discuss about when we look at the current professional sports league. So what organization currently still are considered as a non-for-profit? What organization currently has been considered for-profit? So I hope that you are able to review those content as well, because we do have questions to ask you, whether MFL is a non-for-profit organization at the moment, or MLB is currently a non-for-profit organization, or NHL, whether that's a non-for-profit organizations. Right, so those things you do need to spend time to go and look at it. And the second big part that you do need to prepare is about attributes of the organization. In the class we talk about, we have 8 attributes of the organizations. Right, we talk about identity, programs of the activity, memberships, clear boundaries, permanency, division of labors, hierarchies, authorities, and the formal rule and procedures. So if you really want to do well in the test, instead of just remember, 8 attributes, the most important thing I want you to go and review is you do need to understand each 10 what does it means. Okay, for instance, what does permanency means, right? What does career boundaries means? What does membership means? Right? What does identity means? So you do need to go and look at things in detail. Particularly, think about what would be the appropriate example for you to explain each of the attributes that we discussed in the class. And then the next topics we spend time to talk about 4 functions of the management. Right? We talk about planning, organizing, leading, and evaluating. Just spend a little time to look at those four functions. What were they talking about? So that will really help you to prepare for the midterm exam. So this is what you have to prepare for the first week. Week 2, we have lectures on develop strategic plannings, right? We also did the group projects to ask you to develop strategic plan for our current athletic departments. First thing you do need to prepare is about the definition for the management. So we talk about management is the organization try to achieve a goal and objective with a very limited resources, that including human resources, financial resources, and marketing resources. And when we're trying to achieve the goal, we work with people and walk through people, right? So those are the basic principle for the managements. And then in the second week, we spent time to review 4 different management theories, including the scientific management theories and bureaucratic management theory. So those are from classical management's point of view, and also we'll study about non-classical management theory, which is human relations theories. Now we also call humanistic management theories, and also we spend time to talk about modern management theories, which is related to system approaches. So for those management theories, I hope you are going to understand the basic principles. So give example, scientific management. So scientific management have three principles, right? First one is scientific management is basically talking about all the managers, they're encouraged to go and find the best way to perform the task, right? So they also encourage managers to select their employee scientifically, and also in terms of compensation, the compensation need to base on the work output, how much work they have done, right? So those are very important, right? For the bureaucratic management, right? Bureaucratic management does introduce 6 different principles, right? Task specializations, everyone understand what they have to do on daily basis, right? Hierarchical authorities that explain, within the organizations, there's hierarchical structures, right? So managers actually have more responsibilities and duties compared to the first line managers and also the regular employees. We talk about the formal selection process. So when we select the employee, we select based on their qualifications, not based on their relationships that you have with them, and not based on their personalities, right? And also they encourage we to introduce rule and requirements in the organizations, and also they suggest managers try not to have a too close relationship with the employees, and also we need to go and help the employee develop their career orientations, right? So you have to understand those basic principles. In the exam, I'm not going to ask you those basic principles, but I would like to give you an example, or give you an example and ask you what kind of like management theory would you like to recommend based on this situation. So those are actually coming from their basic principles. To prepare for this kind of questions, I really recommend you to go and when you prepare your own study guide, you please list all these basic principles and understand the meanings, and then in the exam that should be very easy for you to find out the right answer for that questions. And then we talk about 4 types of the plans, right? We have a long-term plan, short-term plan, single-use plan, and standing plan. So you do need to know the example for each type of plan that we discussed in the class. We talk about vision, mission, and value statement. In the group project, you also already create vision, mission, and value statements. I would like to emphasize here again. Value statement is normally 1 to 2 sentences describe what the organization will become in the future. It's normally a vague statement, very bored, right? Mission statement normally 3 to 4 sentences describe who you are, what you do, what you try to achieve as organizations. Right, value statement is indicate the key value, and then we provide some explanation for each of the key value. Normally a key value is a 1 word or 2 words. Okay, so those are the differences. In the exam, you will be asked to write a vision and mission statement for a particular organization. So you do need to understand the basic principles first before writing these mission and vision statements, right? And the next question you have to prepare is you need to go and learn how to create goals and objectives using the principles that we discussed in the class. So this is also the assignment you did in the strategic planning to create a great goal and objective. The basic principle is you have to qualify the goals and quantify the objective. Give example. Goal is increase revenue. Objectives will be increase ticket sales revenues by 10% by 2021. So basically objective need to be quantify the goal, basically like a specific goal, right? Every objective you develop need to be closely attached with the goal you develop, right? Objective need to be quantified, goal need to be qualified. One more thing I would like to emphasize here is objectives is different from strategies, right? Strategy will be, I would like to develop a new, like 3 new new package plans to try to help us increase ticket sales, right? Those are strategy help you achieve those objectives. Objective is something you want to achieve, so those are the differences, right? It's not like your qualified statement, those are objectives. You have to think about whether the statement you create is something you want to achieve or something will help you achieve that you want, that your goals, right? So that's the differences in the exam. So if you are able to qualify the goal, quantify the objective, and also differentiate the differences between objective and strategies, and you'll be able to get the full credit for the questions. In the exam, you also have to prepare 3 levels of strategies for the strategic management. We have 3 level strategies based on the size of the organization. The first one is corporate level strategy, and the second one is a business level strategy, and the third one, lower one, is a functional level strategies. For the corporate level strategy, you have to understand about the strategy, what is growth, what is stabilize, what is a turnaround, what is a combination. So you need to differentiate the differences between these 4 types, and that can really help you to answer the exam questions. So in the exam, we'll have a big questions on this and these topics. So please spend more time to prepare for these questions. Okay, those are the things you have to prepare for the second topics, which is to develop a strategic plan. On the third week, we spent time to talk about organizing theories. So there are a few things that you do have to prepare for the exam. First one, you do need to understand the definition for the population ecology. So they basically focusing on the population-like organization in the geography area and niche. So they're talking about how the business can be very successful in a very intensive competitions, right? So those are basic things you do need to know. And then you have to prepare institutional theory. So institutional theories is basically try to examine why the organization look very similar to one another's, right? So so you're gonna go and look at this. And also we talk about 3 isomorphic process, right? So there are 3 things made the organization look very similar in terms of the strategy, structures, right? So there are 3 process that you have to go and prepare. First one is a cohesive isoformations, right? So it's talking about the organization, they want to change because they're facing some external pressures, right? Maybe the rule changes, right? Governing body require them to make that changes, so you have to follow that suit. The second one is nomadic process. They normally occurs as organization job on a similar resource pool in terms of the consultants, university graduates, and conferences. And the third one is dynamic process. So why we're using the similar strategies is because we find out our competitors are using that strategy and that has been pretty successful. So we would like to duplicate those successful strategy because we're facing some uncertainties in the markets, right? So those are three different types of these isomorphic process. You do need to understand about the basic principle. Another very important topic emphasized here, right? Very, very, very important for the midterm exam that you really, really need to spend a lot of time to prepare this question is you have to go and understand the differences between three types of stage aligned strategies, right? Joint venture, consortium, collaboration. What are the differences? Go and look at the definition and figure out the differences, and you should be pretty well prepared for this question. And also you do need to know the differences between product departmentalization, customer departmentalization, as well as geography departmentalizations, right? So this is week 3. Week 4, we talk about leaderships. You might remember we talked about 6 leadership theories, right? So I don't required to remember every leadership theories, but you do need to understand the differences between theories X and theories Y. So what the difference is, right? Theories X and theories Y, they assume the employees from a very different perspective, right? Theories X, normally those managers believe their employees are apathic and dislike what they're doing. Theories Y, those employee believe all those employees are self-motivated, they're responsible and committed to taking the ownership of their work. So that's the differences. Also, another very, very important topic you have to prepare for the exam is you do need to know the differences between transactional leaderships and transformation leaderships. Look at the unique features associated with this kind of leaderships that will really help you to prepare for the exam. Okay, so this is about leadership theories. Week 5, we spend time to talk about human resource management, right? HRM. So human resource management, we talk about 4 different steps, starting from develop a plan, attracting employee, retaining employee, and develop employees. Right? Think about internal recruiting, external recruiting, what are the benefit and what are the potential problems associated with these 2 types of recruiting approaches. One of the big questions we discuss in the class and also a sure example on Canvas is we need to go and learn how we can develop a job description for the position. So you do need to really take some time to look at these questions. We did spend time to talk about legal, illegal questions, interview questions, right? You have to go and look at it. And what strategy do we need to retain employee is also a question that I hope you can prepare. Right, so this is week 5. Week 6, we spend time talking about budgeting, right? Budgeting, we talk about different financial statement if you still remember the class. Budgeting, we basically we spend a lot of time talking about, sorry, I can't go this one down. Yeah, here we go. For the budgeting, the first thing you have to know is about 3 different financial statement, the differences. In particular, I hope that you could focus on balance sheets and all the different components, including the balance sheets, particularly what is a long-term asset, what is a short-term asset, what is a long-term liabilities, what is a short-term liabilities. You do need to go and figure out the differences between these 2. We mentioned about 4 different budgeting approaches: incremental budgeting, program planning budgeting, zero-based budgeting, and modified zero-based budgeting. So you do need to go and review those basic principles related to all the different budgetings. One last topic is something we were talking about this week, which is a risk management. Right? Let me see whether I'm able to pull up a little bit. Sorry, I can't really pull down a little bit because that is what the screen can show you, but you can look at it on your Canvas. For the risk management, couple of things you do need to prepare. First thing you do have to prepare is what are the four types of the risk we did discuss in the class, right? Facility and equipment risk, personal risk, contract-related risk, and external risk. What is the risk management process? We talk about four steps, right? Starting with identifying risk, analysis the risk, evaluating the risk, and transfer and risk treatments, right? Four steps. You need to understand the orders, right? So which one started first, which one's in the second step, which one's the third step, which one's the last step. We talk about four strategy we use to management risk, right? We're gonna retain the risk, reduce the risk, avoid the risk, and transfer the risk. Go and look at these four strategy. And what other strategy we use to transfer the risk to the third party? We talk about Viver, we talk about insurance policy, we also talk about in outsourcing, right? Find out the individual contractors, right? So that's three strategies for transferring the risk. So that's something you also need to go and look at the basic definitions. Right, so those are the content you have to prepare for the midterm exam. The suggestion from me is I hope that you can focusing on the lecture slide. That is the number one resource for you. So if some content that you don't really know, I think the textbook can also give you some textbook and the reading will also give you some idea about each of the content that we discussed in the class. During the time, if you have any question, concerns about this midterm exams, please shoot me an email and let me know, and I'll be happy to help you answer some of the questions related to the exam. So good luck next Tuesday. I hope you can get a good result in this exam. So we're gonna meet again in the futures. Okay, hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe, and I will catch up with you guys later.